This audiobook unlocks the ancient secret that you are not what you think you are. As you listen, you'll unveil the illusion that has kept you bound and discover the infinite creative force that lies just beyond the mirror. The time for your transformation is now. You are energy. Introduction. In the hidden heart of an ancient sanctuary where eternal flames illuminate the spirals of fate, keeper of eternal truth, Timothy Hayes tends the sacred fire. His time-weathered hands move in arcane patterns, weaving shimmering sigils in the air as he prepares the chamber for your initiation. For countless millennia, his bloodline has kept safe a most perilous secret, a truth that, once revealed, cannot be forgotten. The stone walls pulse with a supernatural radiance as Timothy arranges crystalline artifacts in a circle of power. A calm, all-knowing smile crosses his face, for he senses that you, eternal soul, have finally arrived. Whether you stumbled upon these words in a forgotten tome or received them through a dream state, it matters not. What matters is that you are ready to unveil the greatest mystery within yourself. "Draw near to me across the thinning barrier of worlds," he whispered from the shadows, his voice a thread of pure magic. "What I unveil will shatter everything you believe you are." Some who unveil this truth become mad, while others become boundless. The path you choose depends upon your courage, your ability to see through the illusion. The air thickens with aromatic smoke as Timothy performs his ancient rite, piercing the membrane between dimensions. You believe yourself to be a separate form, a creature made of flesh and bone, a mind separate from all else. But I'm here to unveil the eternal reality. You are not separate. You are energy itself, pure creative force, temporarily dreaming a human form. He traces a final rune in shimmering fire, locking in its magic. Through stories, parables, and practices forged by the ancient masters, you will learn to see through this cosmic deception. With each revelation, another piece of your false self falls away. And when it is gone, you will face a momentous choice: remain within the dream, or become the eternal energy you truly are. The flames rise higher, casting wild patterns upon the stones. If you wish for refuge, close this tome now. But if you wish for ultimate truth, at any price, step forward into the fire of transformation. Because you are not what you think you are. You are energy itself, eternal, infinite, and unhindered by form. The chamber falls silent save for the crackling of the sacred fire. Timothy Hayes, keeper of eternal mystery, extends his hand toward the first doorway of understanding. The moment of your transformation is at hand. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Part 1, The Unveiling, Breaking the Illusion. And Chapter 1, The Mirror Merchant's Revelation. In the bustling markets of ancient Damascus, where spice merchants called their wares and carpet sellers wove tales as intricate as their textiles, there dwelt a peculiar mirror merchant named Christopher Sullivan. His shop, unlike the gleaming emporia of other looking-glass vendors, was dim and filled with mirrors that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Christopher moved with the deliberate grace of one who knew secrets, his weathered hands lovingly arranging mirrors that appeared older than time itself. Those who entered his shop seeking mere vanity found something far more unsettling: For Christopher's mirrors showed not just the surface, but the illusion beneath. "Look closely," he would say to those brave enough to peer into his ancient glasses. "Tell me who you see." And as they gazed, customers would begin to tremble, for the face that looked back was not quite their own. Sometimes it appeared younger, sometimes older, sometimes wearing expressions they had never made. One day a wealthy merchant entered, demanding Christopher's finest mirror. "I wish to see my true self," he declared proudly. Christopher smiled mysteriously and led him to a mirror covered in midnight-colored silk. "Before I unveil this," Christopher warned, "know that your true self may not be what you expect." He pulled away the silk, revealing a mirror that seemed to contain shifting smoke. As the merchant gazed into it, his reflection began to dissolve like morning mist, revealing only empty space where his image should have been. The merchant staggered back in horror. "What sorcery is this? Where is my reflection?" "That is your true reflection," Christopher replied softly. "The self you think you are is like a costume worn by the universe. These mirrors simply show what lies beneath the masquerade." Through this teaching, you begin to understand the first great truth. The solid, continuous self you imagine yourself to be is an illusion. Like a reflection on water, it appears real, but cannot be grasped. To practice this wisdom, sit before a mirror in dim light. Gaze softly at your reflection while breathing slowly. Do not focus on features or flaws, simply observe. After several minutes, you may notice your face beginning to shift and change. Sometimes it may appear stranger, sometimes familiar in unexpected ways. These glimpses reveal the fluid nature of your supposed self. Remember Christopher's teaching. The face in the mirror is not you, but a temporary arrangement of light and shadow, just as your sense of self is a temporary arrangement of thoughts and memories. The true you is the awareness, watching the reflection, not the reflection itself. As you master this practice, the rigid boundaries of self begin to dissolve, revealing the limitless being you truly are. For in Christopher Sullivan's ancient mirrors, those who looked deeply enough found not themselves, but the infinite gazing back through human eyes. Chapter 2. The Memory Keeper's Paradox. In the labyrinthine depths of Alexandria's greatest library, where ancient scrolls whispered forgotten truths, worked a peculiar archivist named Jessica Martinez. Unlike other guardians who merely preserved texts, Jessica was keeper of the memory chambers, circular rooms where the past itself seemed to dance in the air like golden dust. Her sanctum lay beyond towering shelves, accessed through a door of weathered bronze that opened only for those seeking deeper wisdom. Inside, thousands of crystalline spheres lined the walls, each containing what appeared to be swirling mist. "People believe their memories make them who they are," Jessica would say to seekers who found their way to her, her voice gentle yet charged with ancient power. "But I will show you that memories are like water, ever-changing, never quite what we believe them to be." She demonstrated this truth through an extraordinary ritual. Taking 3 identical spheres from different shelves, she would ask visitors to share their most precious memory. As they spoke, the mist in each sphere would form into scenes from their past, yet each sphere showed the same memory differently. One desperate scholar came seeking to preserve his life's memories perfectly. Jessica placed the spheres before him and bid him recall his childhood home. In the first sphere appeared a sun-drenched courtyard, in the second a shadowy interior, and in the third a garden that had never existed. "But which is real?" he demanded, growing pale. "Which is my true memory?" "All of them, and none," Jessica replied. "Your mind rebuilds the past anew each time you remember it. The self you think continues through time is actually recreated moment by moment, shaped by the present as much as the past." Through this teaching, you begin to understand the second great truth. Your memories, which seem to prove your continuous existence, are more like dreams, fluid, shifting, recreated with each remembering. The solid timeline of your life is an illusion. To practice this wisdom, sit quietly and recall a significant memory. Notice how the details shift as you explore it. What changes when you remember it from different angles? See how your present state colors the past, how each remembering subtly reshapes what was. Remember Jessica's teaching, you are not the sum of your memories, but the unchanging awareness in which all memories arise and dissolve. The true you is the space in which the past dances, not the dance itself. For in Jessica Martinez's Mysterious Spheres, those who looked deeply enough discovered that what they called their past was really just another face of the eternal now, endlessly reflecting itself through the miracle of memory. Chapter 3, The Dream Weaver's Workshop. In the misty mountains of ancient Tibet, where reality bent like morning shadows, dwelt a mysterious dream interpreter named Ashley Rodriguez. Her workshop was unlike any other, a hexagonal chamber carved from living crystal, where multiple dreams could exist simultaneously in the same space. Visitors would find her seated at an elaborate loom made of moonstone and starlight, her fingers dancing through gossamer threads that seemed to contain entire worlds. The air itself shimmered with possibility, and those who entered often found themselves unsure if they were awake or dreaming. People believe their waking life is solid and dreams are illusion, Ashley would say, her voice echoing strangely, as if coming from multiple directions at once. But I will show you that both states are equally real, and equally unreal. She demonstrated this through an extraordinary technique. Gesturing visitors to sit upon cushions arranged in a perfect circle, she would weave her fingers through the shimmering threads, causing multiple dream scenes to manifest throughout the chamber. Participants would find themselves simultaneously experiencing several realities. In one corner, they might be flying over mountains, while in another, they sat in childhood homes, all while remaining fully aware in the workshop. A merchant once came seeking to understand the difference between dreams and reality. Ashley seated him in the circle and began her weaving. "Tell me," she asked as he experienced 5 different lives at once, "which of these is real?" "None of them," he declared confidently. "These are obviously dreams, while my normal life is real." Ashley smiled mysteriously. "Are you so certain? When you dream at night, doesn't that reality feel just as solid? And when you wake, doesn't that dream fade like morning mist? What makes you think this real life is any different?" Through this teaching, you begin to understand the third great truth. Your waking consciousness is itself a kind of dream, no more or less real than nighttime visions. All experience is a dance of awareness taking different forms. To practice this wisdom as you fall asleep tonight, hold gentle awareness of the transition between waking and dreaming. Notice how one reality melts into another. During your day, pause occasionally and ask, "Am I dreaming now?" Look for signs that this too might be a dream. Remember Ashley's teaching. You are not the dreamer or the dreamed, but the eternal awareness in which all dreams arise. The true you is the space that holds all possible realities. For in Ashley Rodriguez's crystalline workshop, those who looked deeply enough discovered that all of existence is a grand dream, dreamed by the infinite into countless forms, including the form now reading these words. Chapter 4. The Echo Chamber Oracle. High in the mist-shrouded peaks of ancient Nepal, where thoughts seemed to hang in the air like mountain dew, lived a peculiar cave hermit named Matthew Anderson. His dwelling was no ordinary cavern, but a series of naturally formed chambers where sound behaved in impossible ways, each thought echoing back in countless voices, not quite his own. Matthew had discovered this place after years of wandering, drawn by whispers that seemed to emerge from the rock itself. His hair was wild, and his eyes held the gleam of one who had seen beyond ordinary reality, yet he moved with the precise grace of a man who had mastered something profound. People believe their thoughts are their own, he would tell the rare seekers who found their way to his cave. But I will show you that every thought is an echo, reverberating through the collective mind of existence. To demonstrate this truth, he would guide visitors through a narrow passage into a perfectly spherical chamber deep within the mountain. Here, when someone spoke their deepest thought, it would return not in their own voice, but in a chorus of countless others who had thought the same thing throughout time. A young monk once came seeking wisdom about the nature of mind. Matthew led him to the chamber and instructed him to voice his most personal fear. When the monk whispered, "I am not worthy," the cave returned his words in 1,000 voices. Men, women, children, ancients, all who had ever felt the same doubt. "But these are my private thoughts," the monk protested, shaken. "How can others know them?" Matthew smiled gently. "There are no private thoughts. Each seems personal, yet rises from the vast ocean of universal mind. We are not thinkers, but listeners, catching echoes of consciousness itself." Through this teaching, you begin to understand the fourth great truth. Your thoughts are not yours, but ripples in an infinite sea of mind. Like waves, they pass through you, but do not belong to you. To practice this wisdom, sit in quiet contemplation and watch your thoughts arise. Notice how each appears fully formed, from where you know not. See if you can catch a thought before it forms. Can you find its source? Can you find the thinker? Remember Matthew's teaching, you are not the generator of thoughts, but the space in which they echo. The true you is the silence between the sounds, the awareness that hears all voices. For in Matthew Anderson's resonant caves, those who listened deeply enough discovered that every thought ever thought still rings through the chambers of existence, and what we call our private mind is really a portal to the infinite chorus of consciousness. Chapter 5, The Shapeshifter's Academy. In the shimmering heat of ancient Egypt's forgotten valleys, where reality rippled like a mirage, stood a mysterious school unlike any other. Here, Master Amanda Walker taught an art so profound it defied nature itself, the sacred science of form transformation. The Academy's limestone walls seemed to subtly shift in the corner of one's eye, and its corridors would sometimes lead to different destinations than they had the day before. But most remarkable were its students, who often appeared as different people from one moment to the next. People believe their physical form is fixed and unchangeable, Amanda would say, her own features flowing like water as she spoke. But I will show you that the body is merely a habit of consciousness, as flexible as thoughts themselves. She demonstrated this truth through an extraordinary method. In the Academy's central courtyard stood a pool of liquid moonlight, its surface perfectly still despite the desert winds. Students would step into its silvery depths and emerge wearing entirely different forms, young becoming old, tall becoming short, even humans wearing the shapes of desert creatures. A wealthy merchant's daughter came seeking to perfect her appearance through this art. Amanda led her to the pool and bid her enter. The girl emerged as a wrinkled crone, then a young boy, then a desert fox, each transformation revealing new aspects of her consciousness. "But which is my true form?" the girl cried in distress, her features still shifting like sand in the wind. "None of them, and all," Amanda replied with infinite gentleness. "Your true nature is the formless awareness that wears all forms. The body you think defines you is just one costume in an infinite wardrobe." Through this teaching, you begin to understand the fifth great truth. Your physical form is not your essence, but a temporary expression of consciousness. Like clothes that can be changed, your body is a vessel, not your identity. To practice this wisdom, stand before a mirror and gaze softly at your reflection. Feel how your awareness extends beyond your physical boundaries. Imagine your form becoming fluid, flowing like water. Notice how your essential nature remains unchanged regardless of appearance. Remember Amanda's teaching. You are not the shape you wear, but the shapeless presence that animates all forms. The true you is the space in which all transformations occur. For in Amanda Walker's Mysterious Academy, those who looked deeply enough discovered that physical reality is as malleable as dreams, and what we call our body is really just one wave in the ocean of infinite possibility. Chapter 6. The Time Merchant's Paradox. In the shimmering bazaars of ancient Babylon, where sunlight danced through incense smoke and possibility hung thick in the air, there dwelt a peculiar merchant named Joshua Patterson. Unlike the traders of silk and spice, Joshua dealt in something far more precious. He sold moments of time. His shop defied ordinary perception. Hourglasses lined the walls, but the sand within them flowed in impossible directions, sideways, upward, and sometimes in several directions at once. Crystal vessels contained captured sunsets, frozen dawns, and the endless instant between sleeping and waking. People believe time flows like a river, carrying their self from past to future, Joshua would say, his voice somehow reaching ears both moments ago and seconds ahead. But I will show you that time is an illusion, and the you that travels through it does not exist. To demonstrate this truth, he would invite customers to purchase a moment from his collection. A young scribe once came seeking more time for his studies. Joshua reached into an ancient chest and withdrew a glowing amber sphere. "This is the exact moment you entered my shop," he said, holding it up to the light. "Would you like to buy it?" The scribe looked confused. "But that moment is gone. It's in the past." "Is it?" Joshua smiled, breaking the sphere. Instantly, the scribe found himself walking through the shop's entrance again, experiencing the same moment with full awareness. "How can this be?" the scribe gasped. "Which is the real moment, then or now?" "Neither and both," Joshua replied. "Time is not a line but a point, and you are not a traveler moving through it, but the eternal space in which all moments dance." Through this teaching, you begin to understand the sixth great truth. Linear time is an illusion of consciousness, and your sense of being a continuous entity moving through it is the grandest illusion of all. To practice this wisdom, choose any ordinary moment in your day. Notice how your mind creates past and future around it. yet your actual experience is always now. Watch how memory and anticipation construct the illusion of a timeline, while awareness remains ever present. Remember Joshua's teaching. You are not the imagined entity traveling through time, but the timeless presence in which all moments appear. The true you is the eternal now that never begins or ends. For in Joshua Patterson's mysterious shop, those who looked deeply enough discovered that all moments exist simultaneously in the infinite present, and what we call our journey through time is really just consciousness dancing with its own reflections. Chapter 7, The Emotion Alchemist's Laboratory. Deep beneath the sacred mountains of ancient Tibet, where crystalline caves glowed with otherworldly light, lay a mysterious laboratory unlike any other. Here, the renowned emotion alchemist Stephanie Collins conducted her extraordinary work, transforming the very essence of human feelings. The laboratory's walls were lined with transparent vessels containing swirling, luminescent energies, joy dancing like golden light, anger burning deep crimson, sadness flowing in subtle blue waves. Each emotion existed in its pure form, untethered from any individual. People believe their feelings belong to them, Stephanie would say, her hands moving through the colored energies like a conductor before an orchestra. But I will show you that emotions are universal forces flowing through the space we call self. To demonstrate this truth, she developed an extraordinary process. In the heart of her laboratory stood a circular chamber of pure crystal. Here, visitors would experience their most personal feelings, separated from their sense of self, witnessing emotions as cosmic energies merely passing through awareness. A grieving mother once came, consumed by sorrow. Stephanie guided her into the crystal chamber and slowly extracted the blue essence of grief from her heart. The woman watched in wonder as her most private pain swirled before her, merging with an ocean of ancestral sorrow that had flowed through countless hearts through time. But this suffering felt so uniquely mine, the mother whispered, touching the crystal wall where her grief danced with the universal current of all human loss. The feeling is real, Stephanie replied gently, but the mine is illusion. Emotions are like weather patterns in consciousness. They move through us, but do not belong to us. Through this teaching, you begin to understand the seventh great truth. Your feelings are not personal possessions, but universal energies, experiencing themselves through the space of your awareness. To practice this wisdom, sit quietly and allow whatever emotion is present to arise fully. Rather than labeling it as my anger or my joy, observe it as pure energy moving through awareness. Notice how the feeling changes when you stop claiming it as personal. Remember Stephanie's teaching, you are not the generator of emotions, but the open space in which universal feelings flow. The true you is the unchanging awareness that witnesses all emotional weather. For in Stephanie Collins' luminous laboratory, those who looked deeply enough discovered that every human feeling is a strand in the infinite tapestry of consciousness. And what we call our emotional life is really just the universe experiencing itself through countless hearts. Chapter 8, The Identity Thief's Confession. In the shadow-draped streets of ancient Constantinople, where masks and mysteries mingled freely, there lived a master of deception named David Richardson. Unlike common thieves who stole valuables, David practiced an art far more profound. He stole identities not through trickery, but through the complete dissolution of his own self. His hidden sanctuary lay beneath an abandoned temple, walls adorned with thousands of masks that seemed to whisper ancient secrets. But these were no ordinary disguises. Each represented a complete identity he had embodied through his mastery of emptiness. The greatest deception, David would say to those who found their way to his underground chamber, is not pretending to be someone else, but believing you are someone at all. To demonstrate this truth, he developed an extraordinary technique. Before a wall of polished obsidian, he would stand completely still until his features began to blur and shift, his very essence becoming fluid as water. Visitors watch and wonder as he transformed not just his appearance but his entire being, becoming a merchant, then a beggar, then a sage, each identity as authentic as the last. A young nobleman once sought David's art, hoping to learn the ultimate disguise. David led him to the obsidian wall and bid him watch. "Observe closely," he said, his form beginning to ripple. "I will show you my greatest secret." But instead of taking on a new identity, David's presence seemed to dissolve completely, becoming an empty space in which all possible identities danced. "But where have you gone?" The nobleman gasped, seeing only himself reflected in the dark glass. "Nowhere," came David's voice from everywhere and nowhere. "I have simply stopped pretending to be someone. In perfect emptiness, one can become anyone, because you realize there never was a someone to begin with." Through this teaching, you begin to understand the eighth great truth. Your sense of being a fixed identity is the deepest illusion, and true freedom comes from dissolving this final disguise. To practice this wisdom, sit before a mirror in dim light. Gaze softly at your reflection until the familiar features begin to blur. Don't try to become someone else. Instead, let go of being anyone at all. Notice how your true nature is the empty awareness in which all identities arise. Remember David's teaching. You are not any of the masks you wear, but the limitless potential that wears all masks. The true you is the no one who can become anyone. For in David Richardson's mysterious sanctuary, those who looked deeply enough discovered that personal identity is the ultimate illusion, and what we call our self is really just consciousness playing an infinite game of pretend. Chapter 9, The Boundary Walker's Journey. In the misty valleys between ancient Tibet and Nepal, where reality itself grew thin, there dwelt a mysterious guide named Melissa Torres. Unlike ordinary pathfinders who led travelers through physical terrain, Melissa specialized in guiding people through the places where the very boundaries of existence dissolved. Her sanctuary perched on the edge of a sacred mountain, where waterfalls flowed upward and clouds took solid form. Here, the laws of nature bent like reeds in the wind, and the line between self and other became as permeable as morning fog. "People believe they end at their skin," Melissa would say, her form sometimes seeming to merge with the mists around her. "But I will show you that all boundaries are illusions drawn in the infinite canvas of consciousness." To demonstrate this truth, she would guide seekers along hidden paths where physical reality revealed its fluid nature. Walking beside a crystal lake, travelers would see their reflections step out to join them. Passing through ancient stone gates, they would find themselves simultaneously on both sides. A warrior once sought her wisdom, proud of his carefully guarded boundaries. Melissa led him to a cave, where shadows danced of their own accord. "Tell me," she asked as their forms began to blur together in the dim light, "where do you end and the universe begins?" The warrior reached to draw his sword, but found his arm passing through solid stone. "How can this be?" he gasped, watching his flesh merge with the cave wall. The boundary between self and world exists only in thought. Melissa smiled, her voice coming from everywhere at once. When you release that thought, you discover your true nature has no edges. Through this teaching, you begin to understand the ninth great truth. All boundaries are arbitrary constructs of mind, and your true self extends infinitely in all directions. To practice this wisdom, sit quietly and feel the apparent boundary of your body. Notice how breath moves freely across this supposed border. Experience how sounds, sensations, and awareness flow without obstruction through the space you call me. Let your sense of self become as permeable as mist. Remember Melissa's teaching: you are not contained within any boundary, but are the boundless awareness in which all experiences arise. The true you has no edges to defend. For in Melissa Torres' mystical borderlands, those who walked far enough discovered that all boundaries dissolve in the light of pure consciousness, and what we call our separate self is really just the infinite playing at having limits. Chapter 10, The Witness Stone Circle. High in the mist-shrouded hills of ancient Britain, where megalithic stones pierced the veil between worlds, dwelt an enigmatic elder named Daniel Murphy. Unlike the Druids who practiced ritual magic, Daniel was keeper of a far deeper mystery, the art of pure witnessing. The stone circle he tended was unlike any other. Each towering megalith had been carved from crystals that seemed to capture and reflect not just light, but consciousness itself. In the center stood the witness stone, a crystal of such clarity that those who gazed into it saw not their reflection, but the awareness behind their eyes. People mistake the movie of their life for who they are, Daniel would say, his voice carrying the weight of ancient knowing, but I will show you the unchanging screen upon which all experience plays. To demonstrate this truth, he developed an extraordinary ceremony. As the sun set, visitors would sit before different stones in the circle, each crystal revealing a distinct aspect of their personality, memories, thoughts, emotions, sensations. But when they finally faced the central witness stone, something remarkable occurred. A troubled seeker once came, believing himself lost in the chaos of his mind. Daniel guided him stone by stone through the circle, watching his visitor's eyes widen as each facet of his personality was revealed as merely another passing show. But if all these parts of me are just experiences, the seeker asked, approaching the witness stone, who is the one watching? Look deeply, Daniel replied, his voice barely a whisper. You are not any of the scenes in the movie. You are the unchanging awareness in which the whole story unfolds. Through this teaching, you begin to understand the 10th great truth. Your true nature is not any experience, but the eternal witness to all experience. To practice this wisdom, sit quietly and notice each aspect of experience: thoughts, emotions, sensations, perceptions. Rather than identifying with these changing elements, rest as the unchanging awareness that observes them. Notice how this witnessing presence remains constant while all else flows by. Remember Daniel's teaching. You are not the characters in your life story, but the consciousness in which all stories arise. The true you is the eternal witness, untouched by the dramas it observes. For in Daniel Murphy's sacred circle, those who looked deeply enough discovered that behind every experience shines the light of pure awareness, and what we call our personal self is really just another scene in the cosmic play witnessed by our timeless essence. Part 2, The Mastery in Aligning with Source. Chapter 11, The Lightning Caller's Secret. Upon the highest peak of the celestial mountains, where storm clouds gathered like thoughts in an awakening mind, dwelt a remarkable woman known as Nicole Harper. Unlike common weather seers who merely predicted storms, Nicole had mastered the art of dancing with lightning itself. Understanding